my name is Joscha and I want to speak a little about what we experienced this week here at IABC. For us, we had this topic over this week which was called Thanksgiving. And for me, very important was like Thanksgiving is a tool for us to connect with God, even though sometimes we don't feel Him to be like God, or we have situations where we are very challenged and where we don't know how to deal with that. Then to realize, no matter what the circumstances are, if we just decide to thank God, no matter what our feelings are or like the circumstances, like I already said, like there's a blessing on it and there's freedom inside of our heart, and that's real joy. Joy is not like a feeling, but joy is really the decision to say, God, I thank you no matter what the circumstances are, because you are good. And that's something that's really important for me during this time. And I think when we understand this, then our society and our lives would look different than they are actually right now. And so that's important to know, that to be joyful and to be thankful is a decision. And often for us, it's like we take it for granted what we have, the food, that we have everything. We have our hands, we have our legs, we can use them, we can see, we can hear. And we had this one session at Seek where we had this little tiny piece of paper where there was written on what we don't have. For example, some of them were blind, so they had to put a scarf in front of their eyes. Some of them, they were not allowed to speak, so they had to shut their mouth. And just to deal with this limitation for 45 minutes. And then to realize that we don't take it for granted, but it's really something that God has given us, and it's not something that's normal. It is normal somehow, but to have this attitude of being thankful for that. And so often we forget it, and that's something I want to remind myself of, always to be thankful. Or right now sometimes we deal with this topic of fasting, and when you have this one day of not eating, and afterwards you really realize how much you appreciate food and how much you need it, and it's really something that we should value more, and we forget, even though we are thankful in the evening for eating, or on the next day, no matter how long you fast. So soon you take it for granted again, and just to remind ourselves day and day that all that we have here in the Western world, it's not something that's like, yeah, it's normal, but it's something that's really privileged for us, and that's something that we should value.